Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies with your host, Jason Marshall.
Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies. I'm your host, Jason Marshall. With me today is Mama Kate, and the person I thought was going to be on the show last week, and it turns out it was all my fault. Matt Bardard, how you doing?
I'm good.
Am I pronouncing that right, Matt? Is that how you...
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. And it was all your
Mott.
fault.
That sounds Russian.
I believe it's the long A. Mott.
Malt. Right. I also make applesauce. No, I don't.
I felt so dumb after I started looking back through the messages because I said the 11th and then you said the 18th and I never caught it. And I was like, where is he at? And it was all me.
Well, the other weird thing is my parents are British, so when you say this Saturday, it means like not like the coming Saturday. It means like the next Saturday. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah, like if you say in England, like, oh, let's meet this Saturday and it's Thursday, it doesn't mean like 2 days from now. It means like the next Saturday. Because you would say, I'll see you Saturday, because it's the next one. It's not confusing. So I grew up with confusing British parents.
My guest next Monday is from England, so I'll have something else to talk
He's
to him.
going to fact check that shit. Matt over here.
You better not be lying.
He's just pulling shit out his ass.
It's already Monday in England or Thursday in Australia or something.
No, I got a lot of stuff
Call your mom
to talk
right
to that
now.
guy
I want to
about.
hear her. I want to hear her English voice.
Would you care to do it?
You will not pick up.
Would you care to do an English accent for us?
Oh, I could. I don't know if I'm really good at it. I think I just actually confirmed that I'm not good at it.
You just started doing stand-up, is that right? Or how long have you been doing it?
Well, I lived in LA for years, and I started doing improv in 2003. So I did improv first because that's a good base for like building characters and trying to figure out like where your funny is. And then that led me into stand-up, and I did stand-up kind of haphazardly in LA, like everyone does. You know, everyone's like, oh, I'm an actor, writer, producer, stand-up, improviser, director.
Slash barista.
So I kind of went down that path to try and do it all.
So are you originally from Ohio?
I'm originally from Ohio, and then I lived in LA for 15.
Because I figured that had to be it, because no other person is like in LA like, hey, you know what I should do? I should move to Ohio.
I know. Yeah.
It seems so beautiful there.
Yeah. Look at those rolling
I
hills.
hear they have every chain restaurant.
Yeah, I miss Chili's and Bennigan's. Yes. I have to admit. No, there's no Bennigan's anymore.
They're the best Applebee's.
Yeah. Oh, that mudslider dessert in a baseball cap. That's awesome. But no, so I just decided, well, and then I came back to Dayton, and I kind of realized like you have to make your own entertainment in Ohio.
Yes,
so
a lot of us do that.
Yeah.
And heroin.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
You either find a way to entertain yourself or you get into hard drugs.
There I was, like stirring meth and writing down jokes. There I was. So
You're the greatest creative edge.
Yeah. I'm like, that's good. Oh, that's a good, funny joke. So, so I just did that. So I started doing stand-up again just to like kind of get out of the house.
What got you into it initially?
Improv.
Well, yeah.
That's what he said, Jason. Improv.
But I mean,
How long ago was that? Like 2 minutes?
Was there something
like
that...
every other artist who takes improv, they realize that they don't want to share the spotlight with other people. They just want to be funny on their own. So they go to stand-up comedy. That's the road that I went down.
No, well, that's the funny thing about both is it's gratifying for two different reasons, but it's mortifying for two different reasons, because if you're in improv group, you have that support. You're building scenes together, and you're supposed to just like support one another equally, and create great moments on stage, and then they're gone.
But
then
ultimately, people want those moments to be funny, because I found that even though improv is not based on being funny, it's based on being able to play off each other, and you ultimately you have a goal. We're creating this scene with these people, and how do they know that this is what's going on without us telling them? the goal of improv, but that's not what people want. That's not what people go see. If it's not funny, then people are like, that was crap. They don't want like dramatic improv. You know?
Exactly. You're like, uh-oh, it's been 2 minutes without a dick joke.
Yeah, exactly.
So you throw it in. I like that camaraderie feeling. But then there's also this gratifying side of doing stand-up, and you're up there alone, and if you can say something that makes a group of like anywhere from 5 to 50 people or however many all laugh at the same time at something you said, that's like, whoa, it's a good feeling.
It's almost like a drug, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Feel like you're on a sinking ship. Like even in a 6-minute set, you're like, oh,
the longest
4.5
minutes of
left.
my life. Oh my God. There are times when you walk up to an audience and you know that they don't like you. Like there's been times where I'm like, I don't even know what I've done. Like maybe it's the way I'm dressed, something about me, but these people really don't want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
And those are the longest sets ever.
Yeah, I mean, if in doubt, I just strip down on my Fruit of the Looms, because my body will always get a laugh. Yeah, there we go.
What was one of your worst moments on stage?
I think it's one of those moments where I had a very funny story about Prince when Prince died last year, because death is that's a winner.
Yeah,
and,
people like to laugh about that.
I'm like, hey, that celebrity everyone loved? Let's talk about it. And his death. No, so I thought it would be funny, but it just didn't really turn out the way I was hoping for.
It was a more tragic death than his. Yeah. And I felt like death standing up there, and then I just couldn't really recover from it. It was like the longest 5 minutes of my life, because I started with that and there was really no way to rebound.
And then tell me, when you were done with that set, did you immediately leave? Like, I always feel like when I have a bad set, like, I've got to get out of here right the fuck now. Like,
well,
even if it's just to go outside to the parking lot, like, I've got to get out of this space and away from these people.
Well, I had 2 friends that came and they were like, oh, you did such a good job. I'm like, shut up. I know you are lying to my face.
Don't bullshit me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hate that too.
That did not help, because I'm like, you're not my friends. You're liars. So, it was...
I went up once and I started off with this joke. It was supposed to last, which already, if I would have been doing stand-up for a while, I would have known it was not good. But the first joke was supposed to be around 2 minutes long. And about 30 seconds into it, I could tell no one cared about what I was talking about, and I had to bail on it. And it's the worst feeling when you can tell nobody cares what you're talking about, which is something I'm going to talk to Murray Valeriano about. He was doing a show once, and somebody just stands up and goes, who cares?
Yeah.
And it got in his head. And he actually quit doing comedy for a long time because he went outside and thought, who does care about what I'm talking about?
See, that wouldn't blow my mind, because I'm always amazed that people care.
I'd be like,
why does anybody care what I think or have to say? I don't even care.
I'd be like, hey, they weren't asleep or angry at me or throwing stuff, or he stood up. He was actually listening.
It's like, for me, anytime my family comes, like, that's pretty much the kiss of death. I would much rather go into a venue knowing no one and having zero expectations. The other show that I did that was horrible was somebody thought that I'd been on HBO. So they told everybody there that I had been on HBO, which actually turned out to be a good show, and I had a really good time and hung out with them. We sang karaoke for a really long time. But like, just that expectation, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. What am I going to do? These people think I'm funny.
I went with a friend of mine to one of my shows, and the whole way there, all he talked about was how it's not going to go well. And it did not go well.
Yeah.
And I can't really blame him, because I let it get in my head. But yeah, if you got somebody out in the audience and you're hoping that one particular person laughs, it can really throw you off, because you got to think of everybody there as a whole. And
I had my grandma unexpectedly show up to a show at Wiley's, and I had to pretty much scramble to put together a new set because what I had put together for that show was not grandma appropriate. And that was a horrifying experience to be like, I can't say this in front of my grandma.
You might have seen a whole new side of,
No.
Yeah. Or if you didn't like her, you could have been like, this might kill you.
I love my grandma, but she's very old school. We actually went together to a baby shower a couple weeks ago. My cousin's baby shower, and we get there and there's kids running around, come from a very large Catholic family, so there's just always kids and you're never quite sure who they belong to, when you get into the large extended family. My cousin's adopted daughter is it's clearly of mixed ethnicities, like you can tell by looking at her and my grandma pulls me over and in a room packed full of people ask me, who brought the mixed breed? I was like, oh my God, Grandma. Oh my God. Oh
Wow.
my God. Please don't.
That's rough.
And I had to answer, I couldn't just.
You don't want her to keep yelling that because she doesn't think people heard her.
That's cousin so-and-so's daughter.
You're like, that's Cher's daughter.
And she's like, is her husband black? I'm like, no, she's adopted. Oh, okay.
Thank God.
She didn't say that, but
Thank God.
You can't take these old
but
people
that
anywhere.
mailman had a big package.
Well, as regular listeners know, it is Mama Kate Awareness Month.
Of course it is.
How's your job going?
Well, my last day will be the day that this podcast airs, so that'll be fun. I've spent the last week putting together a document that has everything that you need to do my job, who to call, what the process is for ordering and paying stuff. And
So it's like half a page.
actually, it's a 10-page document. of,
Holy shit. That's a book.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote out everything, but whether or not that gets deleted basically depends what happens Monday and Tuesday. So I work in the art department, so I don't just work for the one professor I have a problem with. I work for 6 professors, and I don't want to screw everybody. I'm not. If I wanted to go out in a blaze of glory, I would have said "fuck you" and left my keys on my desk. I actually like the people I work for. It's just one particular issue with one particular person. So there's part of me that's like, I want to go out gracefully. Maybe I want to come back and work for someone else sometime. Give them this, and it'll be good. I didn't just leave them high and dry. But the more the person I have a problem with is rude to me and doesn't talk to me. It just it brings me closer to clicking that delete button, gone forever, and I don't know what you're gonna do, but have fun with it,
Oh.
So we'll see. I'll let you know how it all turns out.
Can't you send it to everyone but this person?
I thought about that. I thought about giving each professor that I do like a couple pages so that each of them could put it together and they'd have the whole document. But what I think I might do is actually give it to human resources, because then they know that I have not left high and dry, that I left with their best interests at heart. So I think that'll be the way I go. I guess we'll see. I don't know. What do you think?
You could hide them around like an Easter egg hunt.
That's a good idea.
One page, crumpled somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and leave a list of clues or whatever.
I don't think you want to take advice on how to quit your job from me.
Yeah, that's true.
When the podcast, my first podcast before this one of the segments was going to be how to quit your job, and there was going to be a disclaimer that you will get fired for doing this if you don't intend to quit your job, and you may get arrested.
I mean,
this is for entertainment only.
I have quit things in a blaze of glory. I have done that. I quit McDonald's in high school by throwing Big Mac at my manager. I quit my next job at Long John Silver's by just showing up on a Saturday night and being like, I'm going to a party at Ohio State, so see you later. I've got better things to do tonight than work here, so good luck. Here's my uniforms. I have done that, and I have that kind of temperament, and I'm really trying to be mature and adult, But I'm still a disappointment to my parents. So if anybody knows of how you can get paid for disappointing your parents, I'd like to figure that out because I could make millions.
You're not at fast food anymore. I think your parents should be like, she's upgraded. She's up here now. So.
There's only 2 times I can think of where my parents have been proud of me. One is when I finally graduated from college because I stuck that shit out. It took me 8 years, and I was pregnant with my 4th kid by the time I was done. But I got that, I got my bachelor's degree. And the second time is walking again after my accident, which I don't even really take credit for that. What am I going to do? I'm 38 years old. I'm just going to be like, fuck it, I'm not walking anymore.
That's what they were worried about.
Well, yeah exactly.
You do seem like that kind of person.
I do kind of seem like, you know what? It's kind of cool just having everybody push me around in a wheelchair. I mean, that's nice. And people are very nice to you, when you're like clearly a cripple, but whatever.
They were like, don't tell her there's motorized ones now.
So I think because they weren't sure how it was going to come out when I first was in the accident, broke my leg, smashed my leg. And they weren't sure if I would, that was one thing that he warned, you may have a limp, you may not walk at all. And I wasn't ready to commit myself to a life of the couch just because I didn't feel like going to some physical therapy.
Briefly, I thought, we should put out a bonus episode where we just go over Mama Kate's progress through her leg.
Exactly.
And I thought, that sounds stupid as fuck.
It was a pretty fun experience. So,
well, one person that has more drive than you at their job is a man in San Antonio who built a wheelchair for a goldfish. He works at a pet store. There's a goldfish with a disease that he can't swim right. He just flips down and he's just stuck on the bottom of the goldfish bowl. This guy took it upon himself to make a wheelchair, so this
that's
goldfish...
That's dedication to a goldfish. I just get another goldfish. They're like 20 cents.
I'm disappointed that he didn't try crutches first.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Right?
Well, who's pushing this fish? I mean, how is this wheelchair moving? So he basically just strapped a fish to a wheelchair and was like, this is much better.
If you would like to know how it swims, you can go to wedon'thavecookies.com. There will be a video on the website. And we'll have a picture on the Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/wedon'thavecookies.
He could have just put him on top of the bubble maker, and it could have just he could have just floated up and down all day long. That sounds just as fun as being strapped in a wheelchair. It's not like the little fish he can control with his little fishy fins, just push himself around in his little fishy wheelchair.
And it's only going to be grateful for about 5 seconds. Isn't that the length of a goldfish's memory?
You can't wheel yourself through water. Like, wheels don't work in water. Is there some kind of, propeller on? I mean, not that I care enough to look at it, what I'm saying. Like, you can post all the links you want.
I'm intrigued a little bit, actually. Although this story does sound a little fishy to me.
Oh! That is punny.
I almost didn't read the story because it sounded a little clickbaitish.
Oh!
But it turned out to be pretty true. The guy just got something that kind of looks like a table with a little 4 posts, and he got something that looks like a zip tie, wrapped it around the fish, put a piece of styrofoam on top to keep it straight so it would float, and that's how it was made. Very, very weird.
But how does the fish feel about that?
And as simple as that sounds, that's way more thought than I would ever put into helping that goldfish,
did you know
unfortunately.
It was way more work to get the disability placard for the tank. Just stick it right on there. It only lasts for a couple months.
Did he build the appropriate size ramp? I mean, did he even think this through?
I would like to see a goldfish handicap sign.
Yeah. A little parking.
Parking here for pregnant mothers and disabled goldfish.
All right. Well, speaking of work, it's time for us to take a break, but it's also tax time. If you need work on your taxes, go to taxtymeusa.com. Give them a try, and we'll be back.
Grab a pen, warm up your wrist. It's time to play Odious List. Yeah! Roll the die to get a letter. Then make a list of answers from a list of phrases. Like this. Things a guy might name his dick. Pussy pounder. Picker. Pick. Places that you might hide drugs.
Pregnant people.
Penis? Hugs. I'd never date someone who is poor.
Paralyzed.
Parenting kids.
Things you don't give a shit about.
Pennies.
You too?
Well, that one's out. If two people use the same word, neither person gets a point. Oh, you also used queef cannon. Extra points for alliteration. Ways to avoid pregnancy.
Big brown bag blocking babies.
Wow! 5 points. If you try to cheat, you'll be challenged by the other players. Things you find in a crack house. Moaning Martha's Minnie Mouse.
Hey!
That's cheating, you mother.
Odious lists. We're gonna find out who's naughty. Available now.
Hey guys, it's Christina Hughes, the Queen of Fancy, with the flair for the swear. Be sure to check out my website, fancycomedy.com, and follow me on Twitter, @fancycomedy.
She said she was done. She said she was done with me. But the end was something I couldn't comprehend. Oh, see, sometimes you've got to take the bull by the horns and the monkey by its tail. The giraffe by its neck, and I don't know what you'd grab on a whale, but I do know this: she'll be back to me someday, 'cause I stole her insulin. My God, yeah, I stole her insulin. My Lord, well, she'll be sorry. She said it was over when she's deep inside her diabetic coma. Now she needs me in a way that science can't understand. Please take my hand, and I'll give you all the insulin you need. Come back to me now. Come back to me now. Come back to me now. Now I've got your insulin. You need your insulin. I've got your insulin.
Do you have an impression request for Marco Fuji or just want to contact the show? Send an email to jason@wedon'thavecookies.com.
You can also call 929-266-9342 and leave a voicemail. Don't forget, we're really hot on CastBox. Go check that out. I can edit that noise out, you know. First thing we're going to talk about coming back from break is the guy in Sweden who is proposing paid sex breaks for workers, saying that it'll increase productivity because people will be happier and...
Yeah, but do you go home and have sex with your significant other, or do you just have to do it with whoever's available in the break room?
I know it doesn't sound as fun, but I think that is the proposed. Because I would like it if it's just kind of a swingers
your
thing.
Lunch break could be your sex break. I mean, do you have to have it classified as a sex break? I mean, it's just your free time to do what you want break. And if that's sex, that's fine. If it's eating, that's fine. If that's both of them together, that's fine. That's what you do. But does it have to be sex? I mean, what if I just want to go out and get high? I mean, is that not good enough? It has to be sex?
Can I just have a piece of pie? Really?
I don't want to have sex. I just want to eat my lunch.
Yeah, I mean, I could eat it maybe one day if I want to put my dick in the pie. I can make that decision. That's what.
Yeah, if like your desk buddy, you're like, hey man, you want to go take a break? I kind of feel like having some sex. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that would be uncomfortable. Can you imagine being like, "You are fat"? No. So, yeah, and then I would assume that person probably wouldn't like you saying that to them.
Probably not. They'd
Denying.
probably get awkward.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea. You just walk in the cafe and whoever's in there, you just partner up.
You just take it off and wait for somebody to show up. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
I could just see like a big bowl of keys, and you're like, "Oh shit, I got Debbie." Oh.
Yeah, I know.
I better tell somebody that this has negatively affected my productivity.
Yeah.
Debbie's no longer allowed in the cafe.
I'd be like, "I ate lunch at food poisoning." Yeah.
Like, it's not stressful enough with your sex life. You gotta like plug it into every day. Like, you gotta. I've been having sex with him for 22 years now. I don't need to do it every day.
Maybe they could.
This is going to be a great break.
Maybe they could have like sex robots, like an AI.
Yeah,
like if a
that's
Jude Law came my way, I would not turn that down.
Here's something that we talked about.
Taking out the meatloaf.
I'd screw that
robot.
little bear in
You
that
can just
movie.
see, like,
I
the
would take that bear.
The big water cooler gossip is like, oh my God, did you hear? Meatloaf is totally out. They're bringing in Jude Law. Oh!
I haven't talked about this to a guy on the show yet, so I'm really curious to get your perspective on this. They've come out with this thing. It's like a Fitbit for your dick. And it tells you your thrust rate, how many calories you've burned, how active you are. Is that something that you would at all be interested
Because you
in?
need another way to judge measure your performance.
I know. I don't even like standing next to like a urinal if there isn't like that wall there. Like, No,
I don't think I would be into that either. And apparently one of the big selling points of this thing is you can compare your stats. I can't imagine just being like, "Hey, Andy, guess how active I was this week? Check out this thrust rate, bro."
and I could just see like I had a thrust rate of 3.2. Yeah. And it's like I'm always at 8.6. It's like, what the hell am I doing? Yeah.
I can't imagine wanting to buy that as a guy. No. It sounds like something women created to make us better at sex, to be honest with you.
Do women really want like another reason for men to think like, "Hey, I want to try the dick bit out today"?
Yeah.
I think she'd be like, "Get rid of that thing." I don't know. Maybe the gays invented it.
It seems more passive aggressive, which is why I think a woman did it. No offense, Mama Kate.
I don't know.
I just had to throw that out there since we were talking about the sex break thing, because that was one of the oddest inventions I've seen. I mean, I get the whole Fitbit thing, but I just
to wear it like a cock ring.
Yes, that's the other thing. I can't imagine taking an extra step. Like, hey, I can't wait till we have sex. Can you can you help me? Can you help me with my Fitbit?
Yeah,
I forget what they're called. But
I want to make sure these calories are counted.
Nobody's going to believe we had sex if I don't have digital proof.
Guys
so
are
weird.
never going to believe this at work tomorrow.
A lot of people have unprotected sex just because they have a hard time getting to the condom in time, or just they don't feel like messing with taking the condom out of the wrapper. I can't imagine somebody's sitting there just... The other thing that kind of grosses me out is you do put it on your penis, but you're supposed to sync it with your computer so it can download all the... Yeah. Do you really want that on your desk?
I don't know, but I always get flipped out when I see people talking on their cell phones, like at the urinal. Because I'm thinking that stuff sprays. And if you drop your phone and, anything to do with like bathroom or being anywhere near your area.
You saying you don't have any dick jewelry?
I don't have
a bracelet on there,
No.
or maybe a piercing, or
no
a lovely tiara.
That would no, just kidding. That is a good idea.
I know.
Right.
Now, I could see if you put on something to pleasure the other person or yourself, but something that's fitness related.
Yeah, something
to
that's
let you know how many
actively
calories you burn.
judging your performance. Is that really what you're after?
Yeah, we just see you finish, you take it off. Substandard. Oh, wait, what? Why? Tell me why.
It gets stuck inside, like slips off. I don't see that being a big trend setting gadget.
It doesn't sound.
I can just see my brother-in-law buys all kinds, like every cool gadget, that they have to have immediately. And I can just see him at Christmas, like, oh my God, look at this! It's my dick Fitbit. Oh my God.
You know how if you're not active, you have to jiggle
Fitbit,
them?
I'm calling you basic right here, right now. That's what I'm saying. You are a basic bitch. If you have a dick Fitbit.
Well, you know how if you're not active with your Fitbit, you have to jiggle it?
I don't have a Fitbit.
Okay. Well, my wife's got
I don't
one.
need
So
machinery to tell me I'm not active.
if you're not active, you got to jiggle it a little just to let it know, yeah, I know.
I'm alive. or it calls the EMT.
So what do you do with that? If you're just haven't thrusted in a while and it just sends out this wah, 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 and you're like, no, and you just jiggle your hips a little bit like, no, I'm here. And the other thing is, do you have to wear it all the time? Because it seems like it's something meant for exercise, like it's multi-purpose. And I just only see the one purpose, and I don't think that's good enough, to be honest.
I think mystified by the whole thing. You're gonna have
I will
to look
do more
further
research
into
on this topic.
Yeah, exactly. Matt here's gonna check it out. He's gonna tell us how it is, and then he's gonna come back and give us a review.
Yeah, I'll reach out. I'll see if they can send one in for free.
You will never hear from me again.
Reach out there, touch someone.
Can you imagine asking for that for Father's Day or something?
Oh my God. I can now. I know someone who's going to. I'll be like, hey, honey,
And then
you know all these
get it.
kids?
You have to use it, yeah.
Don't you wish you had data to know how the thrust proportion was the night these guys were conceived? Guess what?
No.
There's an invention. I haven't even talked to her about it. I can't imagine. I'm sure she wouldn't be happy about it. And one of the weirdest inventions I've seen come along the pike in a while. I don't think you'll see that in stores either.
Yeah. It's one of those things they send in a plain cardboard box. Like, just your address on it. They would put your name on it.
If that's on Sky Mall, I am never flying again.
I haven't flown lately. I don't know what's going on at the Sky Mall.
Can you imagine going through like travel security and you beep and you're like, oh, it's just my dick bit.
Yeah.
Will you take that off? I'm like, sir.
I would love to see that. You forgot it was on and you go through the thing.
You know what you would find is you would find guys just randomly thrusting all around. They got to get their performance up. They got to get their miles in. They're thrusting for the day.
That was my other thing is I can see a lot of cheating going on because this seems like it's marketed towards people who haven't had much sex.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they want them to brag about how much sex they're having with this device. So you're talking, teenagers
to
college.
To your friends that you really have a girlfriend.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cheating where it's kind of like the Wii remotes, if you guys remember those.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were supposed to run during the game, but if you just shook it a lot.
Go like this, yeah.
I think that
Which nobody can hear that see that on the podcast. Moving my arm back and forth.
Yeah, that looked like something else was going on with the dick bit, apparently.
I think that's what would be going on because it looks like some people would be padding their numbers.
I wonder if it would start to tighten if you were masturbating. It was like, find a partner kind of a thing. Maybe it would get upset if you were.
You have proof positive whether or not men fake orgasms. Like, you did not come, motherfucker. I don't see this anywhere on your line. You are a lying motherfucker.
We need to get this person on the show. We got a lot of questions. Well, it's time for this week's Dumbass of the Year. You ready?
No.
Mm-hmm.
The mm-hms have it.
And it's not the inventor of the dick bit. Okay.
It's a Canadian couple who tried to take a shortcut across a frozen Manitoba lake and ended up with their truck falling through the ice. Apparently, they thought they were going to save themselves about 2.5 hours from driving around the lake. And the big reason that they drove over the lake, which from what I read isn't very uncommon, people do that, but it looks like you would take more precautions before you did it than saying, well, I see some guys out on the lake standing there fishing.
Yes.
I think I'll drive my truck
sure my
over
truck will hold.
Which seems to be their mindset.
Yeah.
Because they saw some fishing shacks out on the frozen lake and just went for it. I don't know if I would do that.
I would definitely not do that. But, I mean, I guess I don't live in Manitoba, Canada, where it's pretty fucking cold, and I imagine most of the lakes freeze. But then again, it is March, so maybe not the best time to check it.
No. When would be a good time? Because you think in, like, end of November, you'd be like, oh, we've only had one ice thaw. So maybe they thought, like, hey, we've had January and February. So we're fine. I'm sure it's deep ice under there.
But you would think if it's a thing where people are regularly driving over it, that there would be some kind of system in place that's like, hey, this lake is frozen, or hey, this lake isn't frozen. You know, maybe you shouldn't drive on it. Seems to me like generally around here, there's an ice skating rink. You know, they'll be like, hey, it's not cold enough to ice skate on this pond. But maybe things are different there. I don't know. Hey.
Apparently, at the time, the Manitoba Royal Canadian Mounted Police said that there was some kind of a ice travel advisory. I don't know how you put it. But,
well, that probably means don't drive on the ice, fuckers.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like if you were planning on traveling over the lake, you would check.
Yeah.
Because
they have Google up in that bitch.
They should.
I think that painted sign that said not a good idea.
Well, any lake that takes 2 hours to travel around is probably too big to trust it being froze over. I would definitely want to make sure that a lake of that size was truly frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about Indian Lake, 45 minutes away.
Well, I could see it if somebody's driving over it and you're watching them, or a couple of your friends are taking a trek and they've already made it. Something like that. But when your big go-to is there's a couple of fishing shacks on the lake.
Yeah.
And your truck is approximately 8 times heavier than that.
Yeah.
Might not be a good way to
there's
judge
not really
it.
weight comparisons.
Yeah. And they had it all on Facebook Live. They were driving just happy as can be, talking about wherever they're going, and then they just went down. And I guess luckily for them, they had a box with clothes and stuff in it, and it floated to the top, so it wasn't a total loss. They did get something out of the truck.
Like driving on a lake where there's fishermen and fishing shacks.
I bet it
doesn't seem like that's the best time to be like, let's Facebook Live this.
And I bet it was them that hurt that poor goldfish. They landed on it.
Yeah, they took him out.
Yeah.
Now he has to have a wheelchair for the rest of his life. They deserve to pay. Exactly.
Yep.
Call 444444. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if I could put that in the show. I don't think they're the people I want to test it on, though.
Exactly. Give a free commercial. What are they pissed about?
I was going to have a dude be part of the show. He was going to do a segment because he's a lawyer, but he's a comedian. And his specialty is in
comedy law.
Yeah.
The laws of comedy. Say it 3 times.
It's like, I broke my funny bone. And now I'm doing it. Like, you can see me right now, and my elbow hurting me.
And then I just thought about it. I thought, if things don't work out, is this the guy I want it not working out with? So I'll have you on as a guest, but I don't know if I want to be sued because your segment is on the show and 2 years down the line you decide you don't want it on there and I got to edit it out. That's a lot of work. So far, I haven't had that happen yet. Thank God.
Oh, it's about to happen with every single show that I've been on. Take all my shit off. I demand it. What you gonna do now? Huh, sweet daddy Jay? What you gonna do
I told
now?
you it would catch on.
Only in this imaginary land where listeners can't actually view you, so that you could be anything. They don't know. I don't know what you are.
I'm gonna replace her with a dude
are.
with a dick bit on. That's it.
That's not nice. Gay guys never like me.
No, you're fabulous. No, you
got nothing to offer. It's true. Guys only like girls they want to sleep with, or other guys they want to sleep with. If they don't want to sleep with you, they are not interested in you at all. That's what I hear anyway. I don't know.
Shout out to my
Damn
wife's
it, it's
sister.
true.
Your wife's sister. She doesn't listen to this show, does she?
No.
I mean, your wife, not the sister. That might work.
Her sister might. I don't know. She does everything else better. No. Let that set in.
I think that's going to be cut.
Nope, that's getting let in.
I am so calling your wife. I am so calling her.
See, the beautiful part is she'll never know. All right, you guys got anything you want to plug?
Yes, and I'm gay, and there's a joke there.
You don't need to raise your hand. Nobody can, nobody can see you raise your hand.
I just raised my hand. Like I have the new show and tell puppy. It's my Labrador. He's charcoal gray. And
your boyfriend is not even charcoal gray.
He's cute. He likes to be petted on the ear.
Yeah.
No,
just like a chocolate lab.
Just like a chocolate lab. No, I just started a new business that's called Regationships.com. And it's a new personalized matchmaking service for the LGBT community to, get more gay and lesbian people to actually go out on dates and have serious, committed, loving relationships.
Sounds
so check
good.
it out at Regationships.com.
And who does the matching? Are you behind the matching?
I'll be the initial matcher.
A computer matcher.
Well, I do put people together based on like demographic data, and then as I scale myself, across this great nation and Canada, that.
So you're more of like a millionaire matchmaker. Like you're trying to do more of personal introductions, not so much like, hey, click right or
Yeah, no, there's too many sites of people that just sit there and look at like a million profiles of other people, and then the judgment starts, and then you start texting and messaging, and then it goes on and on and on, and then you wonder if you're ever going to meet, and a lot of people put a lot of time into those sites until they realize that they're not really ever going to work for them. You really have to be out of your house. Yeah. To find love, you might need to leave your house and actually go physically and meet another person and get to know them.
Well, that's cool.
I know, it's a novel idea, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
real time life social interaction. Who knew?
Yeah.
I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I say get out there and I'll help you.
Sounds good. And I'll have a link to that in the show notes if you're interested. Just check out the show notes for the show you're listening to. I don't know how else to describe it better to you people. If you don't get it, you getting on a website probably isn't going to work either. All right. How about you?
I got nothing. Well, no,
Okay.
we have our show April 8th at
That's
Diesel.
right.
What am I talking about? So we'll be doing that. That'll be fun. We got some great comedians coming.
Yeah.
Do you want me to name them? There's about 3 times in the last couple of weeks that I've had to be like, Jason, who's on the show? I can't remember.
We're gonna have let's see, Ash Ark. Vahid's going to be on.
Oh, Vahid did confirm that he's coming? Okay.
Yeah, I can't say his last name because I see it and it looks like Eeyore to me, and I know that ain't right. So I'm going to let him pronounce it at the show.
And Winnie the Pooh and Piglet are also going to be there.
That's a big selling point, too. Yeah. If you want to know how his name's pronounced, come to the show. Big old cliffhanger there.
Yeah. Our headliner is Jonathan Craig, so a friend of mine. He's very funny. And
Gary Henry and Jonathan Patterson.
And Jack Legg.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
And if you live in the Dayton area, I will be at the Gym City Comic Con from 1 to 1:50 on the podcast panel. Come check that out and check out the Comic Con. I don't know what it's about. I'm not in comic books, but it should be fun.
He's making no promises, but you know.
Thursday, my guest will be the host of the sketch comedy podcast show, Stuart Rice from Portland, Oregon. There may be a show out Wednesday. I'm not sure. If there will be, it'll be with Elsie Escobar from Lipson. Really nice lady. That'll be a fun time. And I think next week is going to be International Week. We're going to have Choo Choo Stew on the show from the UK.
Choo Choo!
And we're going to have Benny Mac on from New Zealand.
I don't want to brag, but Choo Choo's following me on Twitter now. So
oh, yeah?
That's a pretty big deal.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. If you want to send me an email, just send it to jason@wedon'thavecookies.com or call 929-266-9342. Leave a voicemail. If it's funny, I'll play it on the show. And I'll talk to you guys Thursday.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review.
I could. I don't know if I'm really good at it.